is social media as a thing in itself good for us? And
Right.
I'm not sure.
This is Marshall McLuhan, right? The medium is the message.
Well, yeah. But even there, it's like this, I think, is a thing that it has the potential to be used and to be used really, really well.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not sure that we yet have the environment in which we can use this thing really well.
Right.
I'm not sure that we yet have the ability to counter the addictive influence of this stuff. Once upon a time, I keep going to the example of tobacco, right? Once upon a time, everybody smoked. And like parents smoked in their car with their children who weren't in car seats. And doctors would smoke while they were examining you. I remember actually when I was in seminary, I worked with the Missionaries of Charity in Madrid for a while for a summer. And there was a guy who the doctor had come to visit some of the homeless men who were living with the sisters. And he had been doing some work with this guy, and he pulled me in and he said, "You're going to help take care of this man. His feet were in terrible condition." And so he had like dead skin, just like peeling off his feet, and was causing a lot of pain. So the doctor was showing me how to cut the dead skin off this man's foot. Right. And he's teaching me how to do it without causing an infection, and then how to wrap his foot, how to put like the ointment and the cream that he needed to like help to heal his feet. And he's showing me how to do all of this stuff. And then he said to me, you've also got to tell him whenever you can, remind him that he shouldn't smoke, and remind him to eat vegetables or whatever the instruction was. Right. So a couple days later, I'm changing the dressings on this man's feet, and we're having a conversation. And I said to him, "Remember, you shouldn't smoke." And he's, of course, smoking a cigarette as I'm changing the dressings. I said, "Remember, the doctor said you shouldn't smoke." And he put his cigarette out and he looked at me and he said, "Yeah, but why should I listen to him? He smokes while he's telling you not to tell me not to smoke." And I was like, "You know what? You're right. The doctor was smoking while he told you, he told me to tell you not to smoke."
Right. Yeah.
And I'm like, that's a really good point.
You got me there.
Yeah. So there's like that level of hypocrisy, I guess.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
But as we've become more socially aware of what smoking does, what tobacco does, like we no longer have an environment where everybody just does this as a matter of course.
Yes.
Now, if people are going to smoke, you might see like some guys, like they have a cigar. They sit down and have a cigar together. Or it's a sense of like smoke in moderation. Right? It's not like constantly having a cigarette lit hanging from your lip.
Right.
It's like for certain events or socially you might do this. And so it's like all of the tobacco use carries with it a certain danger. Right. But people have figured out how to mitigate that danger
and to
without
moderate
abusing the substance. Right. I don't know that we are at the place right now where we know how to actually mitigate the danger of social media, except that just like we have said that tobacco is something that can only be used by adults. And even then they should only ever use it with moderation. We don't say the same thing about social media.
Right.
Allegedly, and this is from the Anxious Generation, the law is that only those over the age of 13 can use social media, but that's not the case in practice. And there's no way to enforce that. And so what he says in Anxious Generation is that nobody under the age of 16 at least, and he would prefer 18, should have access to social media. It simply shouldn't happen. And we don't have a culture that says that.
No.
And so until we have a culture that says that, what can we really do? And this is where I'm like, I don't know if the church should be using social media, because I think the thing itself, it's not that it's immoral, because again, I think that you can use social media for good, but the thing itself is of such danger that until we have a culture that says this can be used according to the following safety precautions, until we have like a culture like that, for the church to just sort of be out there, especially like anything that has to do with youth ministry, I think it's too dangerous. I think what we're doing is giving tacit approval to say it's fine to use this without any real restriction, and not that that's what we're saying.
No,
right?
yeah.
It's not an explicit thing, but like somewhere under the surface, are we not maybe subconsciously communicating to our young people?
Right, that this is okay
families,
to use.
Yeah. And not only that, but if we're encouraging people, follow us on social media.
Right. Then we are explicitly saying it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that's where I've been like coming up against this thing. Again, for me, this isn't to discount the fact that social media and the technology that we have today is very easily exploited for very, very immoral purposes, right? Like the obscene proliferation of pornography all over the world, through social media, through the internet and everything, it's got to be stopped. So obviously there are ways that you can use this for very immoral purposes. The fact that there's such a thing as cyberbullying, that has ever entered our lexicon at all, is a sign that these means of communication can be used to an immoral end. But that's not my those are concerns for me. But my reasoning here and my thinking is more surrounding like the thing itself. And should we be giving approval to the thing itself, or if we're going to use the thing itself, should it be to advocate for restrictions on the thing itself?
Yeah.
Like if we're going to use social media, should we be advocating like explicitly nobody under the age of 18 should be using this? Should we be advocating, hey, social media can be a place to connect and get some information, but then the instruction should be go outside. Go talk to a person. Go like get out of your screen. Get away from all of this. Go do something. So that's where I find myself.
Yeah, I mean there's like a lot of interesting points in that. I mean, and different places I can go. I'm trying to figure out the order I want to do it in. So for like children using the internet. So what did I mean by the medium is the message? By analogy, right? Like there's a book by Nicholas Carr called The Shallows. You ever read it? What the internet is doing to our brains. Is that what the subtitle is? It doesn't matter. It's by Nicholas Carr. If you look it up, you'll find it. Dear listener. And he uses this analogy where actually it's not an analogy, he just gives an example. He talks about this study that was done where certain people were given a printed piece of paper with some words on it. I don't know if it was a story. I don't know if it was an article. It was something, right? And then other people were given, and it had footnotes. And then there was other people that were given the same, story, article, whatever it was, but digitally, and it had hyperlinks. And the question was like, does hyperlinks impact your ability to remember something? And they found that the percentage remembered was something like 70% lower for the people who had hyperlinks. And so whenever I have this kind of conversation with people, I'll talk to them and I'll tell them this example. And I'll be like, and that was from hyperlinks. That was because the footnote was blue and you could click on it.
I was going to say,
not Instagram. Do you know the answer to this? Like, were the hyperlinks something that people were clicking on as they read? Yeah. So the idea was the presence of the hyperlink. I'm not sure if they were mandated to click on it.
Okay.
But the idea at least was that, the idea in the study was that they could go to the hyperlink for more context. So then they could then bring that context into the actual article. So maybe they were mandated. Yeah. At least it seems like they did click on it, right?
Okay.
Via this description.
Yeah.
And again, so what we see here is that because there's nothing morally evil about hyperlinks, right? We're just seeing that
depends on what you're linking to.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I think we should put that on a T-shirt. But the point is that so the message of the internet has nothing to do almost with what's on the internet, what you're looking at. I mean, there is something to that, obviously, right? There is a drastic difference between reading a sports article and watching pornography, obviously, right?
Correct. Yes.
Right.
Yes.
I know. I'm here for the brilliant, the strokes of brilliance.
That's insight, is what I would call that.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
Like a profound insight. Yeah,
yes,
wow.
exactly.
I'm so glad you made the distinction.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
I never would have made the distinction.
No,
myself.
but my point is that no matter what you're doing on the internet, it's impacting you. And so so something that could even factor into this decision is that, like, I think there is no doubt. I couldn't point you to a specific journal article or scientific, any scientific evidence, but I feel like it simply must be this way, that the internet decreases our ability to pay attention. And so, like, what impact has that had on people's development of an interior life, right? And I would argue specifically social media is culpable for that, right? It is that constant hit of dopamine, right? That might do that. And so, like, you could even bring the conversation there, which is like, do we, like, forget what they could run into, and, we want them to go outside and we want them to develop, these, we want them to develop into, like, well put together integrated adults, right? But also, like, does it mitigate the development of a prayer life? And so that's one place I wanted to bring it. Another just thing that came up in my mind while you were speaking was they being is it Wisconsin, the state of Wisconsin, wanted to make child pornography, child pornography was obviously illegal. They wanted to make it illegal for, I think it was like you had to be a certain age to get into a website. They were going to put some kind of measure in there that if you were under the age of 18 or 21, you would not be able to access the site at all via, like, IPN number. I'm not a tech guru, so I couldn't tell you how that kind of thing works.
Yeah.
Right. But it was going to prevent people on certain, what is it, like a router or whatever, from accessing. It would know your age. And all of these pornography companies pulled out of the state because as soon as they weren't able to reach children, they knew they weren't going to be, quote unquote, successful. Which is like, so that, like, tells you how much of a problem the internet is for children. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so, like, to me, that is, like, fantastic evidence for your point.
Yeah. So the unfettered, unrestricted,
right,
unregulated, and I always hesitate when I go there because I'm like, I want to believe in the better angels of our nature, that we can govern ourselves by growing in virtue, right? But the reality is that we don't do a great job of governing ourselves by growing in virtue. Like, so often we need someone else to enforce a law.
Yeah.
So anyway, all of that, like, there are major problems, obviously, with all of this.
Right.
But I'm still I'm still wrestling with this. As much as it might seem like I've made some solid decisions about this, like, any decisions that I've made surrounding the use of social media are personal and are not yet applied at a parish level or at an ecclesial level. But I have some serious reservations, and I'm still kind of working through them.
Thanks for watching today's video. Let us know what you thought down below, and don't forget to like and subscribe.